Hi and welcome back to Daybreak Grenada. As promised, we have the Honorable Prime Minister Tillman Thomas with us this morning. Good morning and Happy New Year to you.
Well, good morning to you and Happy New Year to you and Happy New Year to all the residents of Grenada, Carriacou and Petit Martinique.
Okay. So how was the holidays for you? How did you spend the Christmas and the New Year's?
Well, quiet, reflective, a little busy with the industrial problem leading up to the holidays, and subsequently, certain incidents took place in Grenada. So it's a mixture, of rest, relaxation, and reflection.
It's still a working holiday for you.
It's like a working holiday in a sense, yes.
Okay.
All right. What personal significance do you append to the Christmas holiday? Is there any special celebration tradition that you and your family do?
Well, yes. Generally, family we get together, but I see Christmas as more than a tradition, because we are celebrating the birth of Christ, and we have to reflect on the characteristics of the person's birthday we are celebrating. And we know that Christ made certain statements, he said certain things, which I think we should all be conscious of. For instance, he said, look, we should always be a witness to the truth. And I think as a family, as a community, as a nation, I think we all have that responsibility. He said again, he came that we should live the abundant life. What is the abundant life? I think that's the thing we should reflect on. If we are committed to the Christian way of living, I believe Christmas is a time for reflecting and trying to reinforce those values that Jesus displayed when he was on earth.
Okay. What would you say is is specific to a Grenadian Christmas?
I think
what is special about it?
I think the family get together. You see friends come around, relatives from abroad, people get together and sharing and so on. I think the family get together is something that is somewhat part of the tradition in Grenada.
Have a cook by the side of the road,
well,
and that
yes,
kind of thing.
Getting together and sharing things,
Okay.
All right. And New Year's Eve, how did you spend New Year's Eve?
Well, I went to church, the old year's night, I went to church.
Okay. And so an early night for you then, once midnight was
yes,
past.
Yes, and then I say, and visit friends, they volunteer. Senior citizens, people you haven't seen for a long time, It's I think it's an occasion when you visit friends in particular who you have not been able to see during the regular period.
Right.
So how was your first day back in the office for 2012? Is there anything you're looking forward to in particular?
Well, and yes, there's something we're looking forward to. Of course, we are being more taken up with trying to get this investigation going on with this incident in St. David. So that was something that, we are looking at to ensure that everything goes according to the legal system. We are subscribed to the rule of law. We believe that there is equality before the law, and we all should be treated according to the systems we have in place, the legal systems, and we want to see fairness and justice to all who are come in conflict or involved with the legal system. As you know, as a government, we are committed to the whole issue of transparency and accountability, and it's something we are constantly working at to ensure that the good governance agenda is being advanced in Grenada.
And as Minister of National Security, what are we doing to ensure that an event like this does not happen again in Grenada?
Well, of course, we need to ensure that our police officers are properly trained, that they're properly guided, that they understand and appreciate that, for instance, a police officer is really a civilian in uniform. We all have an obligation to treat each other humanely, regardless of what condition we find ourselves in society. Even though I have been, taken in as a prisoner, I have to be treated with respect and dignity. And we would want all our citizens to uphold and respect those values. Again, it goes back to what I said originally about the values that Jesus displayed. If we all are committed to those values, we all would see ourselves as walking towards the kingdom. You here, and what you're doing here, your work should be one working toward the kingdom, trying to be honest and sincere in what you're doing. So it should be like the politician, the businessman, the religious leader, all of us. And if we are so guided and directed, I think we'll have a society of peace and harmony.
Okay. Well, I mean, you're obviously a very deeply religious man. What 3 prayers would you like answered for Grenada in 2012? What did you ask for on New Year's Eve?
Well, I'm not that deeply religious. I think I subscribe to certain values and certain standards, because people who are religious maybe subscribe to certain practices and traditions and organized religion, and sometimes I am not really one who would say that I'm so committed to some of the practices and the rites of churches and so on. Right. But I subscribe to certain values, to certain standards, and I really believe in that that spiritual connection. So I mean, in terms of prayer, what I would like to see and I would like to pray for is that there will be peace and harmony in Grenada, in the region, and in the world. We need to have a world of peace. Also, I'd like to pray for economic recovery, not only in Grenada, but economic recovery in the world. The world is going through difficult economic times. And of course, I would want to pray that our projects are being implemented this year. We see implementation in terms of the economic side of things. We would like to see our projects implemented, where employment will be created. Job creation is something that we are committed to, particularly for our young people. So these are the things I would really like to see answered. These are the prayers that I see answered.
The 3 very important topics.
Of course, and relevant to today's world, right?
Yes.
So what are your priorities, your immediate priorities for 2012? What would you be working on first for this year?
As I said, the whole issue of the economic recovery, and we have also set out some pillars for our national development, like education, health and wellness, tourism, agribusiness, energy, and infrastructure. So we have signed an agreement with the St. George's University to establish a public hospital with a teaching component, and we want to see that this year, at least things that taking shape in the physical sense to get this going. We also signed an agreement with the University of the West Indies to establish an open campus at Hope in St. Andrews. We have identified the land, and some work has been done in trying to convey the property to the university. And again, if you go on to see some things get going there this year, and employment for young people. In November, we had launched a program where it's a continuous development of the youth program, where over 80 to 100 young persons sign up to be trained in the health sector, in different aspects of health administration, health technician, the dental aspect of health. And of course, they'll be also given a stipend. So we want to see this thing continue, to engage our people in productive activities. Last year, about 20 young persons signed up with the business aspect of that youth program, where loans were provided for them so they could get involved in small business. Again, we want to see this continue so that the young people could be self-employed and to utilize their skills in areas that could generate income for them.
Okay, that's great. I want to touch a little bit on the industrial action issues, especially with respect to Grenada Breweries Limited. How would you say government sees their role in that? Are you taking any action? Is any action planned?
Well, you have to recognize that it is a trade union and a private company. The government has to ensure fairness and justice. We have regulatory systems. There is a labor code, and we expect the parties to comply with the labor code. But when it gets to the point where the parties are not really coming to any agreement, we will try to make approaches to let them know that, look, this could create difficulties for the nation, and we'll approach management sometime, or approach the trade union and ask them to, you haven't got to be that rigid sometimes. You want us to be flexible. We are living in a society where we should be concerned about fairness, justice, and equity. Mm-hmm. I mean, capital needs the returns of what they're investing. Labor needs to get the returns from investment. And I think if people are fair and reasonable, they would sit and recognize and respect each other's contribution, and to ensure that there is an equitable return, as they say in economics, to the factors of production. I mean, labor must get a fair share, capital must get a fair share, and people should be reasonable. So we are trying to see how we could talk to the parties involved to ensure that there is a amicable settlement of the matter. Again, because we all should have a sense of community. As I said before, I really would like to see a relationship of management and labor as a family. I mean, people invest in capital, they create an environment for you, you get an opportunity to do a job, and we should be sincere and honest in our relationship. Try to be productive, and you make representation for certain benefits, of course, but at the end of the day, we should not destroy an institution or an organization that is trying to create assistance and support for us. I mean, we all are aware of the historical development of that conflict between labor and capital, but the world has changed. I mean, some of the trade union organizations themselves become, to a certain extent, a capitalistic organization. They have the establishment and they have the assets and what have you. So we have to be realistic, and we have to recognize that we are all involved in promoting human development. So I really find that at this stage in our development, there ought to be a more harmonious relationship between management and labor. And
Right.
I'm saying if we are really committed to human development, our own humanity should direct us in a manner that we should be reasonable and recognize that we are only here for a time. We are blessed with certain resources, and the resources should be used for the benefit of all.
Okay. Well, I think you've covered it all, and what you said makes a lot of sense. So we need to be harmonious and
Of course.
and need to find ways to come to reasonable resolutions. Everybody needs to be flexible.
Right.
Yes, we live in a world that must be balanced and flexible.
Right, of
Yeah.
course. Now, I'm sure a lot of people want to know, what is the average day like for the Prime Minister of Grenada?
Well, the average day is like, on mornings, if I don't go for a walk on mornings, sometimes I do some yoga. I practice yoga.
Nice.
Wait, with us on daybreak, or
Huh?
do you do it on daybreak or on your own? You have
On my
your
own.
plan-
I
your own plan.
do it on my
Okay.
own.
Okay.
I learned yoga while I was detained during the period of the revolution.
Okay.
So
Okay.
from that time, I keep doing that exercise. And then I get ready and I go to the office and meet people, deal with matters relating to government. There are times you go out in the area. Sometimes I visit schools, different, and visit. This year we plan to visit business and other stakeholders and institutions in the society. But as a Prime Minister, I get a lot of calls, all different issues. Some issues that could be dealt with at a different level. But people just want to call the Prime Minister and want to
Of course.
engage the Prime Minister in discussion.
Right.
So the average day is fairly hectic, but as I say, we have to cope with these things, and it is part of the system under which we operate. And once we could bring some form of satisfaction or some resolution to some of the issues that are raised by people, you get a sense of satisfaction at the end of the day.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining us on Daybreak Grenada. We are very grateful that you started off. You're the first interview for the year, so we feel blessed that you came and joined us. So thank you so much, Honorable Prime Minister.
Well,
Yes.
it's really a pleasure for me too, and I'm always happy to see young people in the field of journalism. So I really want to wish you all the best, and we're looking forward to work together to build a better community, a better nation, a better region, and a better world.
Thank you so
you.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.